everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. And this is probably the most requested video since my return from vacation, and that is my thoughts on DC Fandome. And I was a little hesitant to do this video because, for the most part, I have relatively positive feelings about the event. I thought DC did a very good job at rolling it out, very accessible. The content that they gave us was great. I have no complaints on any of the content. It felt almost kind of like a Nintendo Direct. So I was a little hesitant to do a video on it, but it's been requested, and it gives me an excuse to talk into a microphone and hear my own voice. Very conceited of myself. But yeah, we should definitely talk about it because it's probably one of the best moves that DC has done in a while in terms of their media products. But of course, before we get into it, let's do some shameless plugging. I hope you guys don't mind a little shameless plugging for myself. And that first of Patreon. Thank you everyone over at Patreon that has supported me. This weekend I'm going to be working on my next Patreon video for our movie marathon, as well as if you join over to Patreon you get exclusive videos like timeline videos and such. And in addition to that, you get all the videos a day early. So, hey, those are some benefits right there. So, thank you everyone over on Patreon. I really do appreciate it. One more shameless plug, and then we'll get into the business. I have my own t-shirt company going on with my business partner. We have our first shirt out, The Most Fasting Man Alive, play off of fasting, as well as The Flash. Go over there, Fandome, down at TeeSpring, pick it up, wear it. It's beautiful. It fits well on me, it'll fit well on you. So let's start things off with Gotham Knights. This was kind of like the opening salvo, the gambit that was thrown by DC Fandome, and what a great opening gambit it was. I think this game looks fantastic. I am excited for the fact that we're going to be able to play as Nightwing, Red Hood, Robin, and Batgirl as the main playable characters. I thought this was set in the Arkham universe, but apparently it's not, which is odd because at the end of Arkham Knight, Bruce Wayne fakes his death and blows up the manor, and let's be honest, he did fake his death. And in this, he blows up the manor again. But apparently this is set in its own separate universe, and you know, the Suicide Squad game is going to be set in the Arkhamverse. Either way, it looks like it's going to be great. I think each character is going to embody something from the gameplay from Batman. You know, Batgirl, I think, is going to really embody the predatorial stuff. You know, the sneaking up and taking down that way, as well as the traversing with the grappling hook. Obviously, Nightwing is going to be more the combat-centric character. You got Red Hood and Robin that are going to be focused on the gadgets. So I feel like these are just slices of Batman, and then you take those slices and exaggerate it. I could also be blowing out of my ass, and none of that's true, and it's completely different, but that's what I got from the trailer. I love the gameplay that we saw. I am super pumped for this game. I think of the two games that were released, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most. But that's not to say that I don't like Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad to Kill the Justice League looks fun and enjoyable. The basic premise is of course, you're hunting down the Justice League. It looks like they're being controlled by Brainiac. At least that's how the trailer plays it. And similarly, you're playing with 4 characters, just like the other game. Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, and King Shark. It looks like it's going to just be a fun rip-roaring time. But the thing is we didn't get as much gameplay, so I don't have as much of an opinion. But guess what? DC Comics tend to have my money no matter what, so guess what they're getting? My money. So yes, Suicide Squad. Not as good as Gotham Knights, but still nice. And I like the character designs too. Especially King Shark. Look at him. He just looks like he's going to beat the living shit out of you. Anyways, with that being said, those were the 2 games that were released, at least the 2 big things for video games. Let's go into the movies. And let's talk about the, first and foremost, Wonder Woman 1984. I almost said 1989. It's not Batman 89. It's Wonder Woman 1984. This is a movie that I don't really need to say too much on because I was going to go watch it anyways. And I don't think the trailer was necessary because they sold me on the first trailer. The first trailer did such a fantastic job at selling me on the movie. We didn't need the second trailer. In saying that, the second trailer was still pretty fun. and enjoyable and really just gets you jazzed up. I'm not saying it was bad or anything. I'm just saying it wasn't needed because you already got my money. But I think the biggest thing that came from the second trailer is that we got to see our first official, real clear images of Cheetah, fully transformed, and it looks gorgeous. It is marvelous. It looks like comic book accurate Cheetah. The little bit of the fight scene that we saw between Cheetah and Wonder Woman, it looks like it's going to be great. I'm really, really excited for this film. It's a shame that we just found out it got delayed, I think, to Christmas Day. But it looks like that's going to be my Christmas present to myself. I'm just going to go out and see Wonder Woman. It's a shame it's getting delayed, but COVID sucks ass, and what are you going to do? Can't do anything about it. So let's jump on to the next movie, and I can't really talk too much about it, but that's Suicide Squad. There wasn't much in way of actual trailer or scenes being shown. We got more behind the scenes, but we get every official member of the team, who's playing who, which is great. I think I'm most pumped because Viola Davis is coming back as Amanda Waller, and you need Waller for the Suicide Squad. But of course, we're getting Harley Quinn back, Rick Flag back, and we're going to get a slew of other characters that look like it's just going to be fun. And I'm going to bring a bingo board and play bingo on which members are going to get blown up or killed. Because there's no way with a cast this large, with so many Z-list villains, that they're not going to be killed off. I think it's just pretty straightforward. But, I was pretty pumped to see the cast reveal, so that's all we can really say about Suicide Squad. We need an official trailer to really get more of an opinion on it. Can't be worse than the first one, though, right? Then we come to Zack Snyder, the Snyder's cut of Justice League. The trailer was fantastic. Playing Hallelujah, which is the same version of Hallelujah that is played in the Watchmen soundtrack, which I'm trying to remember who did that. I believe it was Leonard Cohen. I could be wrong on that, but either case, the trailer was very well executed. It got me pumped. It felt like a victory song. It felt like even when shit hits the fan for Snyder and these actors and everyone that believed in the vision that was being told, it's coming to fruition. Now, in saying that, right, you guys know I've been pretty harshly critiquing the portrayal of some of these characters by Zack Snyder, and it's kind of an up and down motion, right? Man of Steel was, in my opinion, really fantastic, but Batman v Superman was so upsetting, mostly because Batman just killed the shit out of everyone, and Batman's not supposed to kill. Never. And then Superman was way too mopey, and how they ended the film should have been different. But in saying that, I always thought it was an incredible disservice that Zack Snyder didn't get to finish his vision. And Warner Brothers, you clearly screwed things up again, because it's not like the movie did fantastically well. Yes, it was a little bit profitable, but it was a critical bomb. And it's because you basically gutted out the vision of this guy. And the amount of support from fans for Zack Snyder to get his cut out is overwhelming. From what we could see, we see a lot of scenes that obviously weren't in the previous film, a lot of changes. We see Darkseid, we see Steppenwolf with his new look. Just on a whole, I'm looking forward to this 4-hour event. I'm curious on how far this 4-hour movie is going to go in terms of realizing Zack Snyder's vision. Obviously, it won't be the same as he originally intended, but it would be nice to get some closure in terms of that. And I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, if they actually do it, is there's a ton of rumors floating around that Green Lantern is going to be in there. It needs to happen. You can't have a Justice League and not have Green Lantern, especially a founding Justice League and not have Hal Jordan. And it's really cool because there was also interviews with Junkie XL, who's coming in and doing the music, and nothing against Danny Elfman. Fantastic score in Batman's, fantastic score for Batman the Animated Series. But boy, I need my Hans Zimmerman and I need my Junkie XL. So, long and short, I'm pretty pumped for the Snyder Cut. It's going to be great. It is. Whether you like Snyder or you don't, it's going to be great to see that come to fruition. Now, my favorite film, The Flash, starring Batman and Batman with guest star The Flash. I joke. It's just, this is crazy. The Flash film is just going to be ridiculous. In the best possible way. It feels like, again, DC's leaning towards its multiverse, and I think it's its biggest strength going forward in the future, especially when competing with Marvel. Marvel can focus on their combined universe. DC can focus on its multiverse, and I'm so pumped to know that there's going to be Ben Affleck's Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, Ezra Miller's Flash, and God knows who else is going to show up. Because apparently this is just going to be a bogus ride. I would love to see Grant Gustin's Flash show up. It's not going to happen, but it would be a nice payoff to what happened on Crisis on Infinite Earths. But regardless, I'm super pumped for the Flash film. But unfortunately, all we get is concept art. The concept art looks good. I think the new Flash suit looks cool. And it looks like Keaton's getting a relatively... I mean, if the concept art is anything to behold, it looks like Keaton's going to be getting pretty much the same Batman suit he had beforehand. But I'm super pumped for this. I think Flash deserves his due. He's one of DC's most poignant, important, and long-lasting classic characters out there. And if you're going to start off his movie, do it in a big bag way. Just a big bang. And again, it's just hilarious that we're getting two Batman. We now have 3 cinematic Batmen roaming around. Keaton, Affleck, and Patterson. It's bogus. And it's amazing. And I love every little bit of it. But in saying that, like I said, the costume looks really good. Not for nothing, I wasn't a huge fan of the armored costume. I think it was nice for the idea of kind of mishmashing and putting a costume together just to kind of make it work, heat-resistant stuff from satellites. But if you look at this picture here, it looks more like the Flash we know and love. Still no yellow boots. Kind of pisses me off. I want my yellow boots on my Flash. That's super important. But it looks like we're getting a more traditional Flash costume. And I could not be happier that this film, I'm probably one of the films I'm most excited for, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out. I mean, who cannot be excited for this concept? Multiverse hopping, Batman flying, Flash running. I hope more of the Justice show up, and I don't know how much of this Flashpoint is going to be happening, but it'd be cool if we did have the Amazon Atlantean War. It won't happen, but it'd be pretty sweet if we did. Let's talk really briefly about Black Adam, because we got a bit of a tease. And as you guys all know, my favorite wrestler of all time is The Rock, the jabroni beating, loud pie eating, trailblazing, elbow raising, heart stopping, elbow dropping, electrifying, death defying, best there is, best there was, best there ever be, whether you like it or you don't, the best thing out there. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, I just wasted so much time on that, but he's my favorite wrestler. And let me tell you someone, no one is better on the mic than Rock. And no one can sell me on a movie with 3 pictures quite like The Rock. This literally had nothing. It had 3 pictures that were originally sketched by Jim Lee, fantastic, and then rendered by some other artist, and The Rock just sold it. He's like, oh, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, look at this picture. It's fucking fantastic. I'm like, you're right, The Rock. It is fantastic. Sorry, I'm not calling him Dwayne Johnson. He's always The Rock to me. But what really is cool is this, is we get to see a lot of the Justice Society, like Dr. Fate and Hawkman and everyone else, Adam Smasher, so on and so forth. It's going to be cool when we see the Justice Society show up. I'm super pumped for this film because I feel like they're trying the best they can to make Black Adam into the biggest anti-hero they can. And if there's anyone that's going to do it, why not Black Adam? Because he's connected to Shazam, but he doesn't have to be connected to Shazam. I dare say that after this movie comes out, it's possible he could be bigger than Shazam because of the star power of The Rock and how much they're pushing behind him. But Black Adam's a cool character regardless. The Rock is going to do a fantastic job with the character, and I think we're all going to just be pleasantly surprised. And one day it's going to be Henry Cavill and his Superman versus The Rock and Black Adam, and I'm going to be sitting there with the biggest erection in the world. Plain, flat, simple. Talking about erections, Who else jacks off to this trailer 3 times a day? Me. Me. Uh, I think it's basically like part of my morning ritual to watch this trailer. The Batman looks so goddamn good. Everyone was giving shit to this film. Oh, Robert Pattinson and this Twilightness. Listen. Is it what I want perfectly from Batman? No. Aesthetically, probably not. But this looks great. It looks like a 1970s, 1980s like, gritty crime noir kind of like feel. So it has a bunch of year 1, year 2, Long Halloween, Haunted Night, Dark Victory kind of feel to it. The costume looks great. It looks like a mishmash, and it looks like a year 2 costume. Never ask Batman what his name is because he'll just punch the shit out of you. We see some Catwoman, which is great. She has a protosuit costume. It's not really her costume, but she's working on it. We see Colin Farrell as the Penguin, which looks great. We see what I think is the Riddler just taping people up. And this feels like exactly what I want from a Batman film. What's the one element from Batman that hasn't been done in film yet? Anyone? Raise your hand. Anyone? Detective work. I'm sorry, what is Batman's name? The grittiest man in the world? No, he's the world's greatest detective. So what does that mean? Let's do a detective story. Because at the end of the day, that's his priority. That's his resume, first and foremost. Detective. So it's cool to see that we're actually getting some detective work. Robert Pattinson looks like he's actually putting a lot into this part. We don't get to see too much of him acting as Bruce Wayne, but for what we can see of him as Batman, looks great. And you must excuse me, I'm getting a cold. My kid got a cold, so now I have a cold. No, it's not COVID. Don't worry. We got tested. We're all clean. I think it's just more or less just allergies. But regardless, I love the look and feel. I love how dark it's going to look. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this Batman does not kill. Please, Matt Reeves, for the love of God, do not make this Batman kill. Because he is not supposed to kill. And who else loved the fact that they played Nirvana, Something in the Way? I believe it's Something in the Way. I'm not the biggest Nirvana fan, but I did grow up in the 90s, so I know their music. Who else loved the fact that that song was playing? It was glorious. Yes, Something in the Way. I just had to fact check that. This is just going to be a great film. Plain, flat, and simple. I'm curious on where it's going to go. There's a lot of talks that Court of Owls might be in it because apparently if you take the screenshot of when he's grappling up, there's one of the goons is wearing a Court of Owls mask on it. I don't know. But, I mean, if we get Catwoman, Riddler, and Penguin in this, I will be satisfied. This dude right here, I think is Riddler. We don't have confirmation yet. Be cool if it was. Other possibilities, hush? No, probably not. Maybe it might be Joker before he becomes Joker? No, probably not. It's probably just the Riddler. And I'm going to throw the picture up there. Who else likes the fact that when Batman takes off his mask, he still has the mascara on? Let's throw it up there. Oh my god, it's glorious. No Michael Keaton. Frame 1, cut. He looks like he has mascara on. Frame 2, cut. Oh, it suddenly disappears while he's taking off his mask. It's just a silly Batman thing. The Batmobile looks really cool in concept too. I really dig that. I think who they got for Commissioner Gordon, I forget the actor's name. He looks like he's going to do a great job with the role. I think on a whole, the casting on this is on point from what we saw so far. And I think everyone is unified in agreement that if there was pornography shown during DC Fandom, it was this trailer. Because I'm telling you, the amount I'm stroking my cock for this trailer. And sorry for the obscenities, but this is that good of a trailer. I've not been as excited for Batman film since Batman Begins, really. There were a couple of other announcements, some TV announcements. Only one I want to talk about is maybe Young Justice, which is coming out as Young Justice Phantoms. I'm happy to see that Young Justice is going to be continuing. Season 3 wasn't bad, but I think it was the weakest of the seasons, so hopefully Season 4 can bounce back. There was some other Flash and Arrow and a bunch of other stuff. I haven't been keeping up with the DC TV universe, the Arrowverse, because I just don't have the time for 60 million shows. I watched up to the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then I just couldn't keep up. I'll eventually catch up on everything. But I mean, there was a bunch of other announcements. We could be getting maybe a Static Shock movie sometime in the future, which would be fantastic. So there's been a bunch of other stuff, and what's interesting enough is Jim Lee said that the DC Universe app is not going away, even though they feel as though everything's in better hands with HBO in terms of the TV shows. The app is staying. But that's my overall thoughts on DC fandom. I didn't want to make this too long. It's about 20 minutes right now. So, I mean, I think that's a good amount of time to cram in 24 hours worth of content. And again, just talking about the really important high notes of the it's kind of like a convention, right? I like what they did. And they did two of these, two DC fandoms. I like what they did because it felt like a DC Direct, not DC Direct, a Nintendo Direct. It felt like them playing by their own rules and giving us content we want to see. So I think this was a smart move by DC in the atmosphere in the world we live in and to even utilize going forward. So I'm curious, as always, to hear what you guys think. Please post your comments down below. And as always, please follow me on social media at AndrewCutter or AndrewCutter Inc. across the board, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, so on and so forth. This is Andrew saying